Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Steve. I'm the watch enthusiast that doesn't know anything about watches. And in today's episode, I'm bringing you a pretty cool watch, a little bit outdated, and you'll see in a second. It is the Breitling SuperOcean Heritage. Now they have made another one, the Heritage 2, but this is the original. So we're going to be taking a look at that. It is right here. This thing is beautiful. On the wrist today, I guess while we're here, I'm wearing my new Yema Superman GMT Bronze. This was a Kickstarter campaign. I'm going to be doing a review on this pretty soon. So actually, I shouldn't say pretty soon. Every time I say pretty soon, it never happens. I always wait months and months and months. Hell, I've had, whoops, not supposed to say that. I've had this watch for a couple months, and my uncle really wants it back. So I figured I might as well make the review now. I've had, like I said, I've had it on the wrist for a while. So I think I've gotten all the little pros and cons out of the entire thing. So let's go ahead and flip that camera and we'll get into it. And here's a closer look at the Breitling SuperOcean Heritage. Now this watch is the first version of the SuperOcean. They do have a second version out now that's newer. It has a few differences that we'll get into. And this watch also comes in a variety of sizes ranging from 46 to 42 millimeters. So you should be able to find a size that works with your wrist size and, you know, how, depending on how you like to wear your watches. So this specific one is the 46 millimeter version. Case diameter is a little bit under 46, 45.5. A lug to lug of 55.5 millimeters, a lug width of 24 millimeters, and a thickness of 13.3 millimeters. This is also a pretty hefty watch at 191 grams. It does come with 200 meters of water resistance. Now the bracelet does taper down a little bit, so we have 24 millimeters here at the lug, comes down to 20 millimeters at the end link here, and then back up to 21 millimeters at the clasp. Yeah, one nice thing about the Breitling is that the amount of detail that goes into it. Breitling logos, Breitling branding everywhere, even on the underside of the clasp. It looks very nice, very premium feel. So this watch does come with 4 micro adjusts and links. So even though this is a mesh bracelet, you should be able to get a fit that works well with your wrist. The SuperOcean does come with Breitling's B17 movement, which is basically a modified 28-24, highest grade materials, rhodium plating, custom decorations. It's chronometer certified, so -4 to +6 seconds a day, 42 hours of power reserve, and it beats at 28,800 beats per hour, 4 hertz. It's going to get you that nice second sweep there. All right, so getting into the crown settings, it does have a threaded crown, pops out very nicely. To the first position, you can change the date here. Date window is at the 6 o'clock. It comes with a nice bordered date window. Doesn't have a color matched date wheel to the dial, but I actually like the way this looks. It balances the top and bottom of the watch. And in the second position, it does hack. So let's put it to something real nice here. Very smooth operation, something that you would expect. 10-10, looked good to me. Pop it back into place, and then you just screw it in. We do have an aluminum bezel here. Does not have a pip at the 12, so really you can't use this watch underwater, which is kind of a missed opportunity there. They have rectified that in the SuperOcean 2, but we're reviewing the original SuperOcean. Does have a nice bezel action though, so listen to this. 120 click bezel, very solid clicks. Sounds and feels very nice. No back play. Fits very nice. The line's nice. I'm really liking this. The crystal is sapphire, and it does come with this nice blue AR. And it kind of disappears at certain angles. It looks really nice. Comes with a black sunburst dial. The lettering is something that I really like. Now, we do have a lot of wording on this dial, but it is balanced and it does fit really well. Like I said before, the date wheel balances out with that Breitling logo. That Breitling logo is actually in gold, which looks very nice. You have the Breitling that counterbalances the SuperOcean. That lettering for that SuperOcean, very appealing to me. I actually like the way that looks. Font on a watch really matters to me, and that right there looks very impressive. I like the font that they use there. The chronometer certified lines of text at the top balance off with the automatic and the 200 meters at the bottom. It's just a very well balanced watch in terms of the design. You have the Swiss made at the bottom. Around the minute track on the outside, you have the 60, 15, 30, and 45. And then you have those Lume pips here. Now, the lume on this watch isn't the greatest, but you do have a lot of lume in the hands, and you do have those 8 pips around the dial. So while it's not the best, I mean, like I said, this isn't like your traditional diver. You are going to be able to see in low light situations. The high polishing on the indices, though, I mean, that's going to reflect all the light that you need for those, even in the lowest light of situations. So that does look very well. I love the handset. I love the indices. The polishing on them is top notch. And getting into the polishing itself, everything on this watch is polished. The case, the lugs, the crown itself. We do have a signed crown there. It's kind of hard to focus in. But, I mean, from the case back itself is high polished. Clasp is polished. Everything is polished on this watch. So this watch is going to be a fingerprint magnet, but at the same time, if you keep it clean, it's going to look very high-end, very premium. I just love the contrast of that high polishing with that deep black. It looks very, very clean together. Something very unique about this watch is actually the bezel. It's screwed in, and I've never seen this before in any other watch. Usually they're pressed in. This one is actually screwed in, and I don't know if that's to give it a little bit more durability, like that way if you knock it around it doesn't pop off, or if that's just a design cue from what they did in the 60s, but that is very nice. And as you can see, the lugs here also come up to protect that bezel, kind of shroud it a little bit. And this actually, what it does, and it's very smart, it actually shortens up the thickness of the watch by, maybe like a millimeter or two. So it shaves off a little thickness on the watch. With it being such a bulky watch anyways, that's a very smart decision they did there. Something really cool printed at the 6 o'clock position of the case, you're going to see a 4-digit number. And that's basically the month and year that this specific watch was produced. Same thing with the bracelet. You're going to see it on the back of the lugs that the bracelet also has that same engraving. All right, let's go ahead and get this on the wrist. Currently, I'm wearing my Yema Superman GMT bronze on a blue tropic strap. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. I could get this watch a little bit better fit, but I do not want to remove a link since this is not my watch. I just changed the micro adjustment points. But yeah, this watch looks pretty good. Like I said, I'd probably go with a 42 millimeter version, but this 46 millimeter behemoth does have a lot of presence, and it still looks premium. It still looks good. It's pushing the boundaries of my wrist just about to the max. But the overall design of this watch is what matters. It's the same watch in 3 different sizes, so you should be able to find something that fits your style. But all right, let me go ahead and flip that camera around, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts and opinions. And there it is, the Breitling SuperOcean Heritage. So let's go ahead and dive into the pros and cons and let you know if I recommend this watch. Starting off with the cons, it is big. And this is the 46 millimeter option. They do have a 44 and a 42 millimeter option, possibly a 40, but I'm not sure about that one. But if you have a smaller wrist, the watch itself just might be a little too big. The next con is going to be the bracelet itself. while it's comfortable around the wrist, I've had a lot of issues with it pulling the hair off of my wrist, and I haven't had that issue with many other watches. I have another mesh style bracelet watch, and I haven't had those issues with that watch. I don't know if it's catching in the links or if it's catching in the actual mesh, but I have noticed it pull my hair quite a few times. And speaking of that bracelet, the clasp is just that normal clamshell clasp, no diver's extension. Not that I need a diver's extension, it's just an old style clasp, and for this price point, it seems like you should be getting something a little bit more premium. Moving on to the bezel, there's no pip at the 12 o'clock, which, okay, not a big deal, but it has 200 meters of water resistance, and if you're going to use this as a diver, you can't really set it anyway, so you can actually see the elapsed time underwater. You're probably not going to use this watch diving. It's just more of a dive style watch, but just putting a little pip there at the 12 would have solved that issue. My next issue is going to be the lack of lume. Now, this is a 200 meter watch. Is it a dive watch? It's kind of dive inspired, maybe a little bit of a sports watch, but the lack of lume just leaves me wanting more. You know, at this, especially at this price point, you could hide the lume a little bit better. You could lume up the bezel. You didn't have to just forget the lume entirely. So that is going to be another negative, is just the overall lack of lume. And my last negative is that with this being so polished, you're going to see those fine scratches. You're going to see those scuffs. Nothing is hidden. While it does offer a nice premium look, it is going to look a little rough if you're more careless with your watches. Now, with that being said, they do have a SuperOcean Heritage 2, which fixes a lot of issues that this watch has. But that's neither here nor there. Just keep that in mind. They do have a SuperOcean 2. Moving on over to the pros, first thing I've noticed is that the build quality of this watch is very solid. And you'd expect that at this price point. But I was very surprised on the finishing of this watch, polishing everywhere, the indices being polished, even the gold Breitling B at the top. Very cool. The printing is nice. Everything is made very well, very intricately. Breitling branding across the watch. The week and year it was made stamped in the case. Just everything fits and works very well together. I love the handset on this watch as well. Broad triangle hand, that minute hand, very nice. The indices are very polished. It looks premium and it works well together. The polishing on this watch, while it's going to scuff up very easily, it works well. That deep black dial, deep black bezel really contrasts with that hyper polished case and lugs and clasp. It works well together. I really like the style of this watch. And my last pro is going to be that sapphire crystal and that AR coating. I don't know how many layers of AR they put on this watch, but taking it outside, I had no issue. Even in the studio lights, I don't have any issue with reflections. It is very crisp, very clean, and sometimes it almost looks like the crystal isn't even there. And now the time is here. Do I recommend purchasing the Breitling SuperOcean Heritage? Well, if you're looking for a fun sports watch that doesn't take the dive aspect of the 200 meters so seriously, then yes, I would recommend this watch. If you're looking for a traditional diver that you can actually take underwater, I probably would steer clear from this watch. Now, if you're looking for more a traditional diver, I would look at the SuperOcean Heritage 2, because that one can actually be used as a traditional diver. But at this price point, I don't think you're taking these watches into the water with your scuba gear. I'm really contemplating on giving this one back. And to be honest with you, I have added the SuperOcean Heritage 2 to my watch list moving forward. If I find one for a good deal, I'm definitely going to pick it up. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell button, do all those things. I'm going to pop up a couple of videos here. Go ahead, click on one of those two videos. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.